Welcome to the Functional Aging and Mindfulness for Seniors Nutrition Program, Module number 7, What We've Learned. To this point, we've gone over many aspects of nutrition, which you've hopefully found both interesting and useful. In this module, we'll spend some time reflecting on some of the important ideas presented in the previous 6 modules. In Module number 1, we covered MyPlate and mindful eating. The importance of following a healthy dietary pattern at every life stage cannot be overstated. Even as people age, their bodies consistently require many nutrients to help it function properly and keep them in good health. Having a lot of variety in your food choices can help you be assured that you're getting the full range of nutrients you need, and it's also useful for helping you enjoy each meal you eat. It's not essential to have a perfect diet, but with good intention and some effort, the steps you actively take to eat well day by day will add up to keep you healthy. Using MyPlate can help you keep your meals balanced throughout the day and help guide you toward consuming the recommended servings of fruit, vegetables, protein, grains, and dairy each day. While it's not always necessary to include every food group with each meal, it is good to aim toward consuming the recommended number of servings of each over the course of the day. By actively building meals to meet MyPlate daily serving recommendations, you'll establish good patterns to get the nutrients including vitamins, minerals, and macronutrients your body requires for optimal health. If you're a woman, you should aim to consume 1.5 cups of fruit, 2.5 cups of vegetables, 5 to 6 ounces of protein, 5 to 7.5 ounces of grains, and 3 cups of dairy each day. Adult men should consume 2 cups of fruit, 3 cups of vegetables, 5.5 to 6.5 ounces of protein, 6 to 9 ounces of grain, and 3 cups of dairy daily. Also in Module number 1, the concept of mindful eating was introduced. Simply stated, mindful eating is the awareness of the things that surround our eating experiences. These experiences are likely to be somewhat different from those of other people, even if we happen to be enjoying the same meal with them. This is because the thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations we get from food can vary. With greater awareness, we can be conscientious of how we interact with the food we eat without trying to determine whether what we're doing is either right or wrong. Using the many senses we have is a helpful way to experience mindful eating. The sight of the food we're eating, including how it appears on the fork or plate, along with the smells, textures, and tastes coming from the food, are all unique experiences we can build awareness of during each meal. You're likely to discover these experiences will be all the more apparent as you take the time to thoroughly chew the things you've chosen to eat. In addition to the senses, the experience of mindful eating is also closely related to our physical states, including the cues our bodies receive when we're full or hungry. Awareness of these states can help us determine why we are choosing to eat. At times, we may be encouraged to eat because our body needs nourishment. It's also possible that we may choose to eat simply out of boredom. Regardless of the reason, when we eat mindfully, the important thing to do is experience all of the aspects of how our meals connect with us physically and emotionally, and recognize them for what they are or what they mean to us individually. Module number 2 introduced the idea of the mealtime experience. The mealtime experience complements mindful eating and considers many other aspects surrounding our dining experiences. These include what we eat, where we eat our meals, who we share our meals with, and even when we eat. As we give attention to each of these, it will create the opportunity to make our meals a meaningful part of our day. With what we eat, it's important to include a variety of foods, including whole foods, and limiting processed foods when possible. Trying new recipes and foods you discover at the grocery store can open unique experiences and create ways for you to enjoy your meals in refreshing new ways. Keep in mind, it's always good to be conscientious of the portion sizes you're consuming of the foods you eat, whether it's a new dish or something you consume regularly. When eating at home, you can always make a good choice to consume healthy foods with your meals. Focusing on the meal itself through mindful eating and limiting distractions such as watching the television can help you avoid eating too much or eating without any real awareness of the experience. Eating away from home can also be a pleasurable experience. Take the necessary moments to enjoy these times, but also be conscientious of how much food you're consuming during these times. Often, meals with friends at cafeterias or restaurants serve portions which are larger than what you may require with a meal. When this happens, it's a good idea to eat and enjoy what your body needs as it fits with your MyPlate plan and take some home with you for another time. Sharing meals is a great way to connect with friends and family and enjoy the special way food can bring us all together. If possible, take the time to occasionally make eating with others a part of your regular mealtime experiences. Having a regular eating schedule is also a good way to consistently be assured you're giving your body all of the nutrients it requires. Of course, at times, you may not have as much of an appetite as you might on other days, and this is okay. With a regular eating schedule, your body will send the right messages of hunger and satiety, which you can adjust to if necessary. Each of these aspects of the mealtime experience can be influenced by many factors, such as preferences, budgets, the availability of foods, transportation, and other reasons. When you give some consideration to each of these factors, you'll be creating the opportunity to consistently optimize your mealtime experiences in all the beneficial ways for both health and enjoyment. In module number 3, we covered the estimated daily energy needs your body is likely to require based on your activity levels. MyPlate gives us useful target ranges for the servings we should try to consume each day of the various food groups. While this is important to give us assurance that we're getting the nutrients we require each day, it's also important to be aware that our energy needs will vary based on our individual activity levels. For women who are not physically active, 1,600 calories per day is sufficient. Women who get a moderate level of physical activity should aim for 1,800 calories each day. And if living an active lifestyle, women should target 2,000 to 2,200 calories each day. Men who are not physically active will require 2,000 to 2,200 calories per day. If moderately active, then men should aim for 2,200 to 2,400 calories each day. And finally, if you're a man leading an active lifestyle, 2,400 to 2,800 calories per day should be your target range for energy. Everyone should try to consume the minimum number of servings for each food group within MyPlate. If your calorie needs are higher because you have either a moderate or active lifestyle, you'll want to consume some additional servings of foods from the food group categories to supply the calories and other nutrients you need each day. Whether you fit into the not physically active, moderately active, or active lifestyle category, you'll want to get at least 85% of the energy you need from whole food fruits, vegetables, grains, protein, and dairy. Keeping the calories from snacks, sauces, dressings, condiments, and other added sugars to 15% or less of your total amount will help you stay on track with meeting your body's overall nutrient needs each day while minimizing the empty calories. Module number 4 covered serving sizes and portions. A serving is a measurable quantity of a food. This may be one full piece, such as with a medium-sized apple, or it may be an amount you measure with a teaspoon, tablespoon, or cup, such as a quarter cup of raisins. The total daily quantity of a food you should consume for each of the food categories with MyPlate are determined in servings. A serving, however, isn't necessarily a recommendation for how much of a food you should eat at one time. Rather, it's a way to determine a specific amount of food and help us understand the nutrient value for that amount. A portion consists of the total number of servings you choose to consume at one time. This can vary based on how you choose to build each of your MyPlate meals. For instance, 4 cherry tomatoes may make up one serving of a vegetable. If you choose to eat 8 cherry tomatoes at one time, your portion would consist of 2 total servings. With practice and greater awareness, your ability to build MyPlate meals with appropriate servings and portions will develop. One good way to build your skills is to think of some common objects that will help you visualize and determine a quantity of food that will make up a serving. For instance, a baseball-sized serving of pasta, potatoes, rice, or other grains will generally be equivalent to a cup. A fist-sized serving of fresh greens will be around 2 cups. And 3 ounces of fish, beef, chicken, or pork will be about the size of a deck of playing cards. A teaspoon of butter, margarine, or other oils will be about the size of a typical game die. 2 tablespoons of peanut butter will be about equivalent to a ping pong ball, and a 1/4 cup of cheese will be about the size of a large egg. Module number 5 described the different categories of processed foods and provided information on the importance of paying attention to added sugars in the foods we eat. Many food items we purchase at a grocery store or market have been processed in some way. Processed foods are not altogether bad for us. However, it's important to be conscientious of how the various types fit into our eating patterns, including MyPlate. Minimally processed foods typically are those found in their natural form, but have been cut, packaged, or had vitamins and minerals added to them. Some examples of minimally processed foods include salad blends, breads, and dairy products. Moderately processed foods are those which contain common ingredients used in cooking, such as sugar, oil, and salt, and possibly some additives or preservatives. Highly processed foods are those which we should consume less of, as these often contain artificial ingredients, saturated or trans fats, salt, and added sugars. As we consider which foods to choose, being aware of those processed foods which have added sugars in them is wise. Even foods which include many healthy ingredients, such as tomato sauce, yogurt, and fruit cups, can have added sugar. Being conscientious of where extra sugar may be included in the foods we eat can help us from overconsuming this substance and also avoid taking in too much energy from the foods we choose to eat. Examine the labels of your food choices and opt for those with minimal to no added sugars. As a reminder, most adults exceed recommended limits for added sugars. Much of this is due to a high consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages and sweetened coffees or teas. Drinking water instead of sugar-sweetened beverages can help you maintain good hydration levels and avoid the empty calories that might come from consuming excessive sugary beverages. Similarly, minimize the amount of candy, sweet treats, sugary snacks, and sweetened breakfast cereals you consume. Opting for whole foods, including fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, will keep you on track with the MyPlate recommendations and avoid the excess sugar. In Module number 6, we continued sharing information on processed foods, focusing on fat and salt. Dietary fat is frequently misunderstood and assumed to be unhealthy. This isn't necessarily the case in all instances. In fact, fats are essential for a variety of bodily functions, including supplying energy for our bodies. Fats are also essential for our bodies to be able to absorb certain vitamins, including A, D, E, and K. Healthy fats also contribute to keeping our skin healthy, insulate body organs, assist with the maintenance of appropriate body temperature. They promote the function of healthy cells and even help us control hunger and food cravings. Not all fats are good for us, though, and it's important not to overconsume them. In particular, it's important to avoid or minimize the consumption of saturated and trans fats, as these can impact cholesterol levels and increase the risk of heart disease. Some moderately processed and other highly processed foods are more likely to contain trans and saturated fats. Therefore, it's good to pay attention to nutrition facts labels included on packages to be aware of the total fat content, as well as the amount of saturated and trans fats included with each serving. These should always be listed on the label whenever they're present. Finally, sodium is another important nutrient to be aware of with our food choices. Most Americans overconsume sodium in their regular diet. As we age, the amount of sodium we eat or drink each day is particularly important to be aware of. Sodium has a direct impact on our hydration levels and is also closely related to our blood pressure. Keeping sodium intake low can help you maintain an optimal blood pressure, which can help prevent cardiovascular disease and stroke. Adults should keep their daily sodium intake from foods or as table salt to 1 teaspoon or less. This week's mindful prompt is kindness. Just as we practice kindness towards others, we need to be mindful about being kind to ourselves. This can be as simple as gifting yourself a box of your favorite tea. Please let your gaze soften, or close your eyes and take the next 2 minutes to sit quietly and reflect on how you can be kind to yourself. When you hear the sound of the gong, please begin. When you hear the gong again, today's mindful moment will be finished.